for you.
Neighbors call them pirates. They're transient boaters living on the Willamette River, and people in the area say they're breaking the law without facing any consequences. It's 5 o'clock and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff Gianola.
And I'm Jennifer Hoff. The transient boaters living on the river have been the target of many complaints over the years, and now there's a new round of problems. Yeah,
we found out regulations aren't being enforced and sent Chris Woodard to find out who's in charge. He's getting answers. He's live along the Willamette. Chris?
And this is exactly what neighbors say. The problem is there are boats like the ones right behind me here. They say dock there for long periods of time. Right next to the legal homes over this shoulder, they say they're doing things like dumping sewage into the water. And I found out laws that were put on the books more than 2 years ago to try to regulate those boats still aren't being enforced.
This time it's just getting out of hand.
For years, Dan Legree says he's lived with unwanted neighbors.
It's like having a camper outside your house on the street and the guy's just parked there. Noise, parties. What are you going to do?
He lists plenty of problems with what he says are transient or pirate boats parked upriver. But there's one big issue.
It's really the sewage. When you are parked at somebody's upstream from a houseboat community and waste, whatever is going into the river, it goes downstream. It hits my house first and then filters down through the moorage.
Some of the boaters have told us they feel they have a right to be there and are not dumping sewage into the water or hurting anyone. But in 2013, a new law kicked in stating boats can only be parked in one spot for 30 days, then have to move at least 5 nautical miles away and can't come back for a year.
So there's this law, the 5 nautical mile law, but
I don't think it's real. I hear about it. Nobody's enforcing it.
So I went to the Department of State Lands to find out
why isn't it being enforced right now?
Well, part of the challenge with this issue is that the population that's using the river and anchoring out, as we call it, they're diverse. And for some, this is the only housing alternative that they have.
I'm also told that resources are a challenge, and the entire process of seizing a sailboat could cost as much as $10,000. The department is still working towards voluntary compliance and providing services for those with nowhere else to go.
The department's not interested in throwing people out of their homes.
It's an explanation that doesn't ease frustrations for those who've been waiting more than 2 years for the law to be enforced.
I pressed State Lands about what's next. After all, this is a state law. I'm told they anticipate they will begin enforcement action with those who don't voluntarily comply sooner than later, but didn't have an exact date that they were willing to share with me on that. At the same time, we also found out there's a petition out there right now from some people who want to change that state law to ease the restrictions on these boats. So there's a lot of moving parts here, and it is something we will continue to follow. Live in Southeast Portland, I'm Chris Woodard for KOIN 6 News.
Chris, thank you. And I think the big issue here is the sewage, the health